hope in? What's to die for? Live to no end. This is living. The life I've been given is a gift. If I'ma live it, I'ma live it to death. So what's the dream of? What's the hope in? What's to die for? And live to no end. This is living. The life I've been given is a gift. If I'ma live it, I'ma live it to death.
Welcome to the Living Hope Agency call tonight. We've got an amazing special guest, Mr. Peter Unger. Peter is in his early 20s. He's one of my closest friends, somebody that I've worked with in multiple different business ventures. I'll let him share his background because there's a lot of people on here who have not met Peter or heard his story. But tonight we're really going to focus in not just on selling. Tonight we're going to focus in on the long-term picture of creating long-term stable residual leveraged income through building an insurance agency. So Peter came here right away and he knew, I want to sell at a high level because I've got bills to pay. I've got children to feed. I've got a wife that needs to be taken care of. I've tried so many different things in the entrepreneur world, and he found his stride here with Family First Life in learning to sell at a high level. But he immediately understood that the long-term big picture here was to be able to create an agency to create leveraged income. Now, I want y'all to understand, when things like what happened to my family in the last month happen, you lose a family member, you have a baby, emergencies happen. It's the hard work that you do now in building an agency that allow you to be able to take some time away and spend it with family. Imagine that if you had a family member get sick, imagine if you had a kid, imagine if you had an emergency that took you away from work and you stopped selling. If it's just you selling, if you stop selling, you stop getting paid. When you start to teach people this incredible skill set of how to make money at will, not only are you changing their life and you're giving them the opportunity to be able to make as much money as they want whenever they want to do it, as long as they're willing to put in the work, but you create a leveraged income where you can earn an override here. And an override is a percentage of somebody else's sales. Now, when you hear that, some people, they hear that and they say, oh, so people are making money off of me. No one's making money off of you. We're making money together. You got to earn the override. At the end of the day, I always like to say, as soon as you start to build a team, you give up your right to be lazy, because at the end of the day, there's what's called the psychology of the override. And if you're just taking an override on somebody, they're not going to like you long-term anyways. But if you're working hard, nobody is ever going to question that. And at the end of the day, you should earn your override. You guys should help your new person with their in-home help. You should help them in a handful of different ways with lead strategy, helping them get off the ground and get started. And as you do that and you start to teach people a skill set to be able to help families, you're going to earn every single dollar in overrides that you make. So that's the long-term big picture, because here at, as an insurance agent, you can sell and sell and sell and sell and sell, and you can make a good living like that. But like I said, if you stop selling, you stop getting paid. So our goal here is to help y'all create long-term stable residual leveraged income that can pay you for generations. And it starts off with introducing this incredible opportunity to your first person. So we're going to talk a little bit tonight with Peter, like I said, about how to balance the idea of selling at a high level while building a team. He's been able to go out there and hit senior sales manager, which is 100,000 in volume in 120 days. So he did 33,000 of that himself. And then the other 70 or so thousand, 67,000 came from, I think, about 9 agents. So it wasn't anything crazy. You didn't have to go build a team of 1,000 people like you do in network marketing, or hundreds of people, dozens and dozens of people. With 9 people, he was able to get to a level where Family First Life is going to give him his own logo. So we're Family First Life Living Hope. Mike Curry, FFL Valiant. Peter, he will announce his logo very soon as it gets made. Grady is FFL America, but you get to get your own brandable piece of Family First Life, your own agency, when you hit the level of senior sales manager. You can start building an agency from day one, but you get your own branded agency at senior sales manager, which is what Peter hit. Peter has pretty consistently been a 30 to 40K a month producer for the last 120 days. He can tell you his story. I won't take away too much of it, but let's go ahead and bring Peter on. Peter, you with us?
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
I can hear you, man. You're looking good.
Thanks, dude. You too. You're a dad.
Man. I am a dad. I've got the
different.
I've got the dad beard going right now. So forgive me. But all right, guys, we'll go ahead and get this thing started. So Peter, a lot of new people on here. There's about 40 people on here. Some of them saw you come into this business 120 days ago and have maybe heard your story, but there are a lot of new people who don't know what you've been able to do. So let's just kind of dig back to what were you doing before Family First Life? How'd you hear about it? And what has the first 120 days been like just from a selling perspective?
Okay, cool. Yeah, so I have a background in entrepreneurship the last few years of my life. So since 2015, 2016, when I was 17 years old, I was introduced to network marketing, recruited into a company, did some product sales, ended up in a travel and adventure club with Jamie and got to travel to some pretty incredible places and see what it was like to bring hundreds of people into something and build culture. And then from there, was in the digital marketing space for a couple of years. I had an online marketing and branding agency with my wife for 2 years. We actually really lost in the midst of the pandemic. Back in November, our business really started to crash of 2020. And so we had to make a pretty quick switch. I'd been watching Jamie over here for the last, I think at that point, it was like 6 to 8 months. And I trusted Jamie. We had been out of touch for a while, but I trusted Jamie. I knew he had integrity. I knew he wouldn't do something that wasn't real. So when I saw Family First Life and what he was doing over here, I was pretty amazed by what he had accomplished. But the biggest thing that stuck out to me was how happy he was. And I hadn't seen him that happy in a business setting in a while. It just seemed like he'd really found a lot of purpose. And that was really powerful to me. So I reached out to him the end of February. It took me like 3 minutes to make a decision. I remember texting him and he's like, "Are you sure?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm in." And he knows if I say that, then it means I'm in. So I got into class right away, and I got through pre-licensing in 3 weeks, not because I was super motivated to start this and I was just excited, but because I was pretty desperate in a lot of ways. My family was not in a good place. We had enough money in savings to make it through March financially, and that was it. And rent was still going to be due the next month. So my first day out in the field was also the day we got an eviction notice for our apartment. So I was a lot less afraid of failing in this company, and I was a lot more afraid of failing my family. And I think that motivation pushed me to really dive in because I had nothing to lose. Literally, we had $146 that we spent on leads when we started.
That's wild, bro. So you said something really good there. You said I was less afraid to fail in this company as I was to fail my family. And I think that's powerful, man. I mean, that's pretty much where I was at too. You know, when we first got started in the business, you know, Katie and I had talked about how we wanted to start a family. And for me, I struggled for so long with the confidence of being like a consistent provider for my family. And that was something that I really wanted to do. And I know that Family First Life, that's kind of done the same thing for the both of us. Is it's given us just a platform that we know we can feel confident in providing for our families. As long as we do the work, we put in the numbers. And that's kind of what I want to transition into next, is just some of the numbers, because, you know, we talked when you first got started, you're like, "Okay, Jamie, what do I do to go out and start fast?" And I said, "Well, you have to condense timeframes." You know, meaning that, you know, when I first got started, in my first dial day, I set 7 appointments. In my next dial day, I set 9 appointments. And then I ran probably 7 to 10 appointments per run day for about 2 months. And it took me about 2.5 months to sit my first 100 appointments. And you hear people say, get to your first 100 appointments as quickly as possible. Now, Peter, he's kind of somebody who, when you tell him, "Hey, this is what the standard is," he says, "Okay, how can I just go 10 to 15% above that standard just to make sure that I can hit that goal?" And Peter, I think you went out and you ran like 85 appointments in your first month. Does that sound about right?
Yeah, 84.
84 appointments in his first month. And the results were incredible. So for me, I ran probably 40 appointments in my first month, and I issue paid 19,000. Peter ran 84 appointments in his first month, and he submitted 53,000. I think issued somewhere in like the high 40s. You know, so huge difference. Okay, and the main reason is because he got to 100 appointments much quicker than I, and he was able to receive feedback on the fly. So whereas, you know, I was in the field and I ran 7 appointments and I did it all on one day, but then I took a day off, and then I came to the next week and I kind of dialed, but I kind of didn't, you know, and I was getting feedback in between appointments. Peter was back to back to back to back, to the point where as soon as he left one home, he's getting feedback for the next home and applying it directly into the new home without having much time to really think. And that served him very well. And I think that's important for anybody on here to learn, whether you're full-time or part-time. If you're part-time and you're just working the weekends, well, that first weekend, you should stack that first weekend like you're full-time. So if you're only running Saturday, Sunday, I'd be trying to run 10 appointments on Saturday and 10 appointments on Sunday, as quickly as possible, because you're going to learn so much quicker coming into the next weekend than, oh, I ran 4 appointments, 2 on Saturday and 2 on Sunday, and now I'm going to wait an entire week to come back around and run another 6 appointments for the next weekend. You know, you consider yourself part-time, you're like, okay, I'll just run 1 appointment here, 1 appointment there. Well, the amount of time in between appointments to apply feedback, you lose that feedback, and you just lose out on so much. And Peter was just a prime example of someone who applied the feedback as quickly as possible and condensed those time frames and just went out and found massive results. Now, he obviously understood as well, and this is what the main purpose of the call tonight's going to be, is he knew, okay, I can take care of myself by selling. You know, I can learn that skill set. But when you learn such a powerful skill set, you think back to every single person you've ever worked with in your life and business that you were trying to make it together. You had a dream of making it in entrepreneurship, or just, you know, making it in life, you know, your good friends that you want to see do well. And of course, if you learn this skill set, you'd be selfish not to share it with people. And that's kind of what Peter's done from day one here. And that's why he's been able to build an agency up to senior sales manager pretty quick. So Peter, let's just dig into that a little bit. You know, your background's in network marketing, you know, an opportunity where you earn money through obviously the sale of a product or service, but the goal is to build a team of, you know, we didn't call them agents, but distributors, whatever that term was, to promote that product as well. What's just kind of like the difference in confidence? And you can kind of share some different examples of what you think the major differences are of like recruiting towards something like that versus recruiting into something like this.
Yeah, I think so. There's a few things. First of all, in network marketing, you almost definitely have to recruit in order to make money and to have it truly be lucrative. And even then, sometimes it's still not. But here, recruiting is a choice. Obviously, there's people in this business that we know of within FFL that, you know, issue pay $100,000 a month in commissions, and maybe they don't really focus too much on building a team, but they just produce at a really high level and make $1 million a year. That's pretty crazy when you think about it. But building a team here, I think the biggest thing, and this was also my greatest fear in the beginning, is that it gives you a ton of responsibility, just like it would anywhere else, but the result is completely different. I was really afraid to build a team here because, and I didn't recruit for my first 30 days. And I know what we always hear top producers say is, I wish I would have recruited from day one. I'm glad I didn't, because of my situation. I had felt like I failed so many people in the past. So many times where I thought I had an opportunity that could legitimately change someone's life, and maybe they made some extra friends, but on a financial level, nothing was really altered too much. And I think that made me question my ability to actually help someone succeed in anything. So I needed to, number one, go get the results here to see that this was real. Number two, I needed to get the results and to look back and say, my first 30 days and something I've never done before, I'm completely novice, and I'm an amateur with that, and anyone else can do that. So if it's really a duplicatable opportunity, and I believe anyone can do it, then whatever I do in my first 30 days, I can at least show someone how to do that. In worst case scenario, half of that. And so when I got to the end of my first month, I knew this was the best opportunity, but it was really a matter of bringing people in. So yeah, I didn't start recruiting until 6 weeks in, but the biggest difference is that people came in and they started making money right away. I had 4 people launch in 1 week. They both made, all 4 of them made over $5,000 in commissions in their first 3 days of running business. That really blew my mind. I could not believe that there was something that had worked for me. And there's so many games you play in your head in any business, but especially here. And sometimes you'll have a great week and like, did I luck out? Because then you'll have a terrible week or a terrible day. And you'll wonder, you're on this roller coaster. One day you're like, this is the business for me. I'm gonna spend the rest of my life here. And the next day you're like, I maybe should go get a job, and you can go through these emotions. And I mean, Jamie has been probably too much so my emotional support of calling him and be like, dude, I don't know what to do today. And it's just day to day sometimes, but learning to have a level head is so important. And so coming into something that works for you and then watching it work for other people, that's one of the biggest differences, Jamie, is that this is actually the first opportunity I've ever found where I can 100% say I'm convinced that anyone can do this. Doesn't mean that everyone's going to, or that this is the right space for everyone. But if you're resilient, if you care about helping people, if you can work incredibly hard, if you can play the battle with your mind, not with your body here. This isn't manual labor, 12, 16 hours a day, but mentally you are at war with yourself. But if you can win the war within, there's no limit to what you can create here.
That's awesome, man. And you kind of took before I could even ask the question, you kind of already said it, but I'll have you expand upon it. You said anybody can do this, but not everybody will do this. And you started to describe like the type of person who could find success here. So let's just talk about that for a second. Everybody on here, let's say they already have the mindset of, I want to build a team. We're just going to assume that right here. And for anybody on here who doesn't want to build a team, that's okay. Still good to listen to. But who are you looking for when it comes to, and we'll talk about sources of recruits. Let's just talk about the type of person. It doesn't necessarily have to be how do you recruit your friends or how do you recruit on cold market or the internet, but what's the type of person that you're looking for and what's the type of person you're not looking for?
Pretty much anyone you talk to will say they want to change or they want to make their life better. But then when you ask them what they're willing to do or what they're willing to give up or what they're willing to sacrifice, the list gets a lot smaller. So ultimately, I'm looking for people who want to change their life and are actually willing to do something about it. Because there are a lot of sacrifices and there are a lot of moments of just, I think, being afraid and just moving forward anyways, just stepping forward when you feel like stepping back. I think resiliency is huge. Being someone who is not devastated by one event. I think so many times people are left shipwrecked after one terrible moment in their life. You can talk to someone and you can ask them why their life's worked out the way that it has, and they'll pinpoint one specific moment or one time or one relationship that ruined everything for them and they haven't been able to move on since. But then there's those people that you're just so inspired by because they just seem like they've had the wrong hand of cards dealt in their life and they continue to move forward, and it seems like they just get stronger with all of the adversity. So I think resiliency is huge. People who are empathetic, genuinely care about people. Our clients are so fragile. I don't know a better word than that. A lot of these people are afraid to die. They've lost people during the pandemic. They are not trusting, and you're a random stranger coming into their home promising you're going to take care of their family if they pass away. They have no guarantee that you're actually still going to be there for them. Understanding someone's situation is everything in this business. And then you think about that on a recruiting side of building a team. Not everyone's going to be able to run the same schedule as you, and just actually understanding where they're at in their life and what they're really looking for. So I think empathy is huge. Those are some of the first things that come to mind.
Okay, so who are you not looking for? Just because like what kind of things throw up red flags for you? So like, let's say you're having a conversation with someone, whether it's from like the Go High Level campaign, which we'll get into that in a second, but like you're having a conversation with someone, you start asking questions to them. What are some red flags that get thrown up where you say, okay, this person might not be a good fit for Family First Life, and you take the opportunity away? Because in this business, guys, this is a business where you're bringing people in, they're getting a license, and they have a financial obligation. Okay. And that financial obligation is if they go and they sell a policy, that policy is a 75% advance on it. That client decides to cancel within the first 12 months, then there is a negative commission that can be applied to that. Chargebacks are not a big deal. They're not a big deal at all. They happen to all of us. They happen to me every day. But if you do not continue to sell, then you can earn a negative balance on your account, and that negative balance can then roll back to you if that person doesn't pay it. And there's a whole thing to it. So we want to obviously minimize risk and not bring on people who write bad business who aren't going to stick around. So what are some of the red flags that you see, not just from that perspective, but just in general of like someone who's going to come here and just kind of waste their time because they're not going to work hard? Like what do you kind of see that people should avoid?
First thing would be people who aren't teachable and coachable, who even in just talking about the system, start telling me what they're going to do and how they're going to do it. People who are asking a lot of questions about being independent, but not because they want the freedom of being in charge of their own schedule, but they want the freedom to do whatever they want to do here and not plug into the leadership and the coaching and the strategy and the training that we have. So someone who's not teachable or coachable. Second is probably someone who's just not willing to risk, because I know this is going to devastate them. So when someone starts telling me, if they ask questions about chargebacks, like you mentioned, or they ask questions about, well, does business fall off the books? Of course it does. It's a real business. There's an attrition rate, just like in any other business. Over an 18-month span, probably going to have at least 15% of your clientele cancel their policy no matter who you are, how great you were in the home, how trusting you were, how much you put them in a better position, because people have financial problems. People will change their mind about things. There's a return counter at every store you go to because people return stuff. People cancel subscriptions, memberships, and even life insurance, which is pretty crazy. But when someone tells me that that's just too big of a risk and they can't see what could be gained here, I know that ultimately this will probably hurt them in the long run. And it's probably not going to be the right opportunity for them. Outside of that, I think it's just people who ask me how easy it is to make money. When you say that it's hard work, they're kind of turned off by that. If they ask if it's fully remote and then you tell them, yeah, but you have to go out in the field and see families, and they tell me, well, I'm only going to do phone call in homes. I'm only going to take clients over the phone or over Zoom, and I'm not going to go meet with them, or I don't want to do that. I'm like, well, then not the right business, right? Not the right place. So there's a lot of different things, but those are the first few things that come to mind. Is just someone who's not willing to risk it all, someone who's not teachable or coachable, and someone who isn't willing to put in the work and is asking me if this is hard work, and then clarifying how hard the work really is. And then asking me, well, do I have to do all that stuff? It's like, that's not even the right way to think about it. So I think mindset is everything. It's like when you're recruiting, you're seeing everything through the lens of mindset. And there's mindsets that you can work with. There's people who are in terrible jobs, or they have a bad home life, or they've just been beaten down in their life, and they need someone who will encourage them and believe in them. That's a mindset you can work with. Someone who's already ambitious and driven, I mean, that's someone you can just help run here. But someone who actually just wants to waste your time and is going to waste their own as well, you are doing yourself and them a disservice by even bringing them in and pushing them any further into this.
100%. One of the things that I learned in the past is when you get somebody who starts defending why they're not further along in life, or they start blaming any outside circumstances. So like if you start asking someone questions about like, hey, what have you been doing? Like, what is it that you want to do differently? Why do you want to come to Family First Life? And if anything that they say, isn't like personal responsibility, that's usually a red flag for me. If someone's like just the type of person that like defends why they're not further along or blaming, and this kind of stuff are things that you find also as you start working with agents as well. If they just have a personality of someone who defends and justifies their actions and blames outside circumstances, and in those scenarios, there'll end up being some leadership talks with those people to find out if they're going to be here long term. So let's talk about leads. That's a conversation that I'm sure when you talk to people, they go, okay, so we have to buy leads, right? What does that conversation sound like? How do you explain the value of leads to somebody, and why we buy leads, and just what that can turn into?
First of all, I changed the language because that usually comes up in a lot of recruiting calls. We get to buy leads. We don't have to buy leads. I tell them we get to buy leads. We have the best leads in the industry. We are working with all people who are interested in what we're doing. And honestly, like if I was talking with you, Jamie, I'd be like, Jamie, what's so cool about what we do is that it's a lot like being a waiter or a waitress at a restaurant. If you have a certain set of tables that you're supposed to be taking care of and someone comes in, you're not confused on why they're there. They're there to buy dinner. And so if we have a list of warm leads who've already requested our help, and they answer the phone, and they book an appointment for us to come over to their house for an hour, and they let us in the door and we go and sit down with them, the only reason they're not going to get coverage is because you mess something up and you don't do your job, you don't dig into the why enough, you don't find the right reason, or they just wanted some company and they didn't actually want to do anything with it. They were just lonely. But really, like there's only a couple of reasons that it wouldn't work out at that point. So I always tell people like we're actually only communicating with people who are interested in what we're doing. We're not cold calling, we're not door knocking random strangers. And Jamie, what's even better is that you buy leads one time here. So when you first get started, you're going to invest into your brand new business that you are starting completely independently, and your cost to run your business is your leads. You're going to buy leads, you're going to call them and set up appointments with them, and then you're going to go help those families and you're going to get paid. And you're going to use those commissions that you get paid in the business to reinvest the next week back into your leads. At most, if you don't set up enough appointments or something happens, that's okay. You'll buy leads twice, and then you won't have to do it again. You'll use the money that you're making here and you'll reinvest in it. And here's what's cool. Average commission here is about $1,000. That means that if you sit with a family and you protect them with an average size policy, your commission is going to pay for $1,000 worth of leads. So even if you got started with $1,000 worth of leads, that's what you can expect. And then I tell them how much I spend on leads a month. which is about 8 to 10,000. I'm spending at least $2,000 a week on leads. So I tell them that in the beginning, I spent $146. I wish I had a better story, but it's exactly what was in our account that day. And it's what I was able to do. And from those $146 of leads and some help, I was able to receive $6,300 in commissions within the next 4 or 5 days. So I was never worried about buying leads again because I saw the value in it. And so that's what I always share with people initially. If they tell me what's the return on it, I'm like, all I can tell you is I just started buying more and more leads the more that I saw how much this made sense. If I buy $2,000 worth of leads, it's going to be $10,000 to $15,000 worth of commissions the next week.
That's good, man. Okay. So that's a good conversation that comes up. Now, kind of the next thing that always comes up is, okay, so what does that activity have to look like? What does it look like at a part-time schedule? What does it look like for a full-time schedule? How does that conversation look when you have that with a new person?
If someone tells me that they're going to do this part-time or that their schedule is really set, I kind of get an idea of what their schedule is like to give them some ideas and suggestions on how they could do this. And I always tell people there's a lot of different ways you can do this. It works if you do it full-time. It works if you do it part-time. It won't work if you do it sometimes or if you treat it like it's a hobby. So what's really important, because you do have the freedom to choose, sometimes when we're given no parameters, we choose poorly. You need to have a schedule set that you can stick to. And a part of that is just respecting yourself. So if you're going to do this part-time, my recommendation is that you have 3 days a week that you can dedicate to this, and preferably 3 in a row. If you want to work the smartest schedule, you would dial on a Thursday or a Friday to run appointments on the weekends. I always tell people that, but any 3 days a week would work. But preferably what you want is you want a day that you can dial for appointments, and then you want 2 days that you can go and run those appointments, run 15 to 20 appointments. And here's kind of the result that'll come from that. And I tell them, but I always make it super clear that I would rather someone go about it that way than run 1 or 2 appointments after work, a 6 p.m. and a 7 p.m. every night a week. So that's one of the things. And then if they're full-time, of course, I tell them what our schedule is like here. Hey, our dial days within the company are Mondays and Thursdays. There's a live dial team for you to plug into where you can get feedback in real time from top producers. You can get, you can hear how other people handle objections. And so what I do is I dial on Mondays to run appointments on Tuesday and Wednesday. I try to set 15 at least. And then I do the same thing on Thursday for Friday and Saturday. You can do it that way, or you can do it, your way. But really, that's the full-time schedule here. And then part-time, you can pick a few days a week. And we've had some awesome people who have come in, and that's exactly what they've chosen to do. Savannah Lawrence is a great example of that. She came in, she said, I can get some form of childcare Monday through Wednesday from 9 to 2 in the afternoon. And I said, well, then you need to run an appointment on every hour from 9 to 2. And that's what she did. She hasn't had a single week where she hasn't booked up her entire Tuesday and Wednesday. And so she's dialed every Monday. That's what she did in July, to book up all of Tuesday and Wednesday. And she paid a little over $24,000 in commissions part-time, actually only doing this 3 days a week, never deterred from that schedule. And so the power of consistency is huge here, Jamie, right? If you're running a part-time or a full-time schedule, you just need to have days that are blocked out for this. And I always kind of try to communicate that to people.
That's good. And I think the overall theme here is just you can't over communicate when you're talking to these recruits here. You can't over set the expectations and, just let people know, hey, this is what you can expect here. This is the activity that's necessary. And, I've even started, and I'm sure you have as well, when you're having that conversation with someone who's new, who they're part-time, they're wanting to go full-time, or they don't have anything they're doing right now, and they're just immediately wanting to go full-time. I say, okay, Peter, so, I like to go a little bit deeper, and Mike's been on a couple of calls with me where I've gotten a couple people uncomfortable, and I just straight up have said, how are you doing financially? If this didn't work, how many months of income do you have in the bank? And the reason I'm asking that is I need to know, do you have a couple months worth of income in the bank, or do you need to make money right now? And that's a tough question. A lot of people are like, whoa, I can't believe he's actually asking me that. And I've asked a couple of people that question. It's been powerful. They're like, oh no, I've got like 6-8 months money in the bank. Okay, got it. Okay, I need to make money right now. And regardless of what they say, my answer is the same. And it's like, if they need to make money right now. Okay, perfect. We're going to go out there and help you earn your first check this week. Versus someone says, I got 6 months income in the bank. Okay, that's great. We don't want to dig into any of that. I want to help you earn your first check this week. And I think the whole idea is just, for me, I know how badly they need to make it, but I also take a different approach with somebody who maybe needs to make it right now. And I say, hey, listen, you're wanting to come into this business full time, and you don't have, all you have is money for leads right now. You need to make this work. So can we make an agreement that if you need to make this work, that you're going to be willing to be coachable and teachable? You're going to be willing to do the activity that's necessary, regardless of how much time it takes. Perfect example. Today Mike Curry was in the office with Taylor Walker out in Charlotte, and they were dialing their leads, and he hits me up at like 4 p.m., 3 p.m. my time. And, it's 6 p.m. his time. And he's like, hey, we're at 10 appointments, not enough. And I'm like, hey, that's a pretty decent day. And he says, no, but we got to get to 15. And they sat there, and he texted me while they're on the call. He's like, hey, I'm still at the office. It's 8:35 in Charlotte right now. They're still at the office, and they got to their 15. So it's just making the agreement. Hey, so if you understand this is the activity that you need to be able to do to earn this type of income, to be able to reinvest back into your business, you understand that that's the activity you need to do, correct? And I get that agreement up front. And then I also let them know, we're going to do this for 30 days. Okay. And if at the end of 30 days, if we haven't gotten to a point where you're issuing at least 5,000 a week, you're going to go back and you're going to find a different job. Does that sound fair? And that's just something that I've started to do with people. And I get that agreement up front that if somebody's going to come into this business full time, they're not issuing at least 5,000 a week in their first 30 days, and they're full time, that they're going to go and find a different job. They're going to do something different. And I think it just puts the pressure on people. So that's just something I do. I like to get people a little bit uncomfortable. And I think over communicating the expectations is important. And then getting people to also do a little bit more than what's expected, because doing more work can never hurt you. So, okay, let's talk a little bit about where you're finding your recruits. So you've had a handful of different recruits come in. You've invested into some of our online marketing campaigns. Then you've also had some warm market. So tell me a little bit about some of the warm market people and how that's worked. I mean, sometimes it's just as simple as, you haven't been on social media for a while, and a couple strangers start shouting you out for recognition, and then people reach out to you and say, hey, Peter, what are you doing? What has that process been like in comparison to other businesses you've done with having to recruit your warm market?
Yeah, I don't even know where to start with that. I have had more people reach out to me about this and get into class and get into contracting and start this process than I think I ever had inbound, like people coming to me in
we were always outbound. Everything we did never.
We were always outbound, right? But that's something that we got really good at too, is reaching out to tons and tons of people. I have had more people than I had in 3 years in network marketing the last couple of months reach out. I think a lot of it is because no one here posts about themselves, like, hey, look at like what I issue paid this month. It's always a repost. It's from someone else's page. It's from FFL America page. It's someone else tagging you. I love that, because I really try to post what I'm doing as least as I can in comparison to trying to post other people's stories. And that's something I've been working on, because it's just so much more powerful, especially for the people who actually know you. So there's another reason to build a team, is because you have a direct correlation between the person that you're sharing success on and how they got those results. You had a part to play in that. And it's powerful to share stories from people all around the company, because this is probably one of the only companies in this industry that is not cutthroat and is not everyone competing against everyone. But if you learn to do that, not just for the sake of marketing, but just to celebrate other people, I mean, what an incredible asset to learn in your life. So I've had so many people coming inbound, but I still know that in starting something new, it's always going to be an uphill battle in the beginning. And so outbound traffic is super important. I've reached out to certain people, but more than anything, Jamie, I've had a lot of people come in, and it's been from Instagram, it's been from stories. Some of them has been from Facebook. But I think when you start to do something here and you start to work really hard and you have those results, you're gonna have people who celebrate you. And then when that gets posted on your social media, you have people who wonder what you're doing and they have questions to ask. And the numbers we're showing are not, they're not realistic. It doesn't seem real. And so if someone trusts you, or if you've been known as a person of character, if you've been known as someone who is legitimate in the decisions you make, then people will ask you, hey, like, is this real? Because you just don't strike me as like someone who wouldn't do something that was real. Or maybe people don't know you and you're a stranger to them and they're more skeptical. But either way, what's so cool is you can so easily prove what's actually going on here and you can explain it to someone. And I think just being open and being willing to have a conversation with someone, I try to be really understanding. There's a lot of people that reach out from different vantage points. Some people are super curious. Some people are just super cynical and skeptical. But if you try to understand where they're coming from and that in the rest of the world, it's not normal to talk about making 10, 20, 30, $40,000 a month, and you go back to that reality, then you'll start to understand why people are approaching it the way that they are, and you can understand them, you can answer questions, you can have a conversation. So social media has been huge, Jamie. And then, yeah, the Go High Level campaign has been a game changer. You spend...
Can you go ahead and explain to everybody what the Go High Level campaign is and like when you believe that someone would be ready to invest into something like that? Talk about how much it costs to get in, how many leads you can expect on a monthly basis, and just where those leads are generated, how it all works.
Yep. So we have a huge lead campaign that's ran within Family First Life. And the way that it works is you're put on a rotator with other people who have paid to get into the campaign. It's $1,000 a slot. And what you can expect each month, they say 60 to 70 leads a month. I've been getting probably closer to 80 to 100. And so they under promise and they over deliver on the campaign every single month. People are coming from Facebook, they're coming from TikTok, a few different media resources and outlets, and they are sending in their name, their email, their phone number. You know what state they came from, you know the time of day that they filled out the form, and it's because they're clicking to get more information. And a lot of these people, they're watching the Rogue IMO video, right? The 17-minute overview video that explains the company, and then they're reaching out. And Go High Level has an app. It sets up a campaign with auto texts, and so it sends out texts for you. But you can also take things more into your own hands. You can take every contact, you can put them in a spreadsheet, you can reach out to them personally. And it's huge because these are interested people that are coming from social media and different outlets, and they're reaching out. Some of them might already be in sales. They might already be licensed. Some of them have never done anything like this before, but you're going to have a ton of eyes on you and a ton of people asking questions that want to get on the phone with you. And you can schedule 5-10 minute short little phone calls, ask them a few questions, answer a couple questions, and then get them into class right there. And the thing is check this out. If you, let's say your comp level is 100%, okay? And you hire one person from the Go High Level campaign and they come in at 90%. And you help them in their first month issue pay $10,000. Practically speaking, that's about $1,000 worth of income, and it's going to pay for its slot in the Go High Level campaign. So just like leads can pay for themselves, just getting the campaign set up, and it's not going to be overnight. You're not going to see the results from hiring someone for at least 90 days. It's not going to be overnight, but it's a long-term investment to get people who are completely cold market, who do not know you from all over the country, to be interested in what we have going on here. And then from there, you can have a quick conversation with them and you can get them involved in what we're doing. And so you're giving them a huge opportunity. You're investing into the future of your business, and you can have up to 10 slots in the campaign. And there are some people who do. They spend $10,000 a month because this campaign is so valuable.
That's wild. And there's so much good stuff that you said right there that I want to dig into. The ability to be able to have, just like we have a lead system of people raising their hands saying, Peter, I want life insurance. I'm in your area. Somebody call me and get me some life insurance. We have people who are raising their hands saying, I'd like to learn about Family First Life. And that's so counterintuitive to everything that we've ever done, where everything's outbound. Hey, let me have a conversation. Hey, Peter, how have you been? How's your kids? How's this? How's that? Hey, anyways, I think you'd be really good at what I do. If I sent you a video, would you check it out? And there's nothing wrong with that type of prospecting, but it gets old after a while when you go through your whole friends list and it starts turning into these transactional conversations. The only reason I want to catch up with you is so I can share with you about my opportunity. It's not truly about, hey, you and what I think you could be good at. Whereas these are people who are raising their hand online that are already looking for an opportunity. And your job is just to filter through those people and find out who's going to be a good fit. And a lot of them are not good fits. A lot of them you say, hey, did you watch the overview video? No, I did not watch the overview video. When do you think you could watch it? I don't think I'm going to watch it. Okay, well, this isn't going to be a good fit for you. Click. Hey, did you watch the overview video? No. Okay, I'll call you back. You know, when do you think you can watch it? I'll watch it by tomorrow. Okay, I'll call you tomorrow. Did you watch it? Nope. Okay, I don't think this is going to be a good fit for you. Did you watch the overview video? Yes. Okay, great. What questions do you have? And then I find out if it's a good fit. So the conversation's not that difficult, but you find out really quickly who could be a decent fit, who's not going to be a good fit. So that's number one, is we have interested people, leads, raising their hand that you have access to, that you can reinvest the commissions from your business into building a business. But we also have the ability to build a team in all 50 states. Okay, so this traditional insurance model, it used to be, okay, Peter's in New Mexico, he's licensed in New Mexico, he's going to get an office in New Mexico, and he's going to hire in New Mexico. And the leads that are available in New Mexico, you guys can split them all, and that's all that you have. Whereas Peter's been able to hire people in Michigan, in Indiana, other people in New Mexico, California, Arizona, all over the United States. You have the ability to hire people in all 50 states, which is so incredible. So it's cool because we can look and see where leads are in the country, and we can focus our hiring efforts there, and we can create some pretty cool opportunities from a hiring perspective. So we have leads of people raising their hand. You can hire in all 50 states. The Go High Level is going to give you the opportunity to do that. And it just gives you an opportunity to talk to more people. I'd like to show a quick screen share, and then I'll ask you a couple more questions, Peter, but just to give some people an idea of how the agency building side works. Peter had kind of mentioned it a little bit, but the breakdown, let's say Peter's at 110% and I'm at 100%. So you help a part-time agent go out and issue $10,000 in a month. So Peter helps me make 10,000. I make 10,000. So 10,000 times 100% commission level is 10,000. I have a 75% advance. The other 25% comes on months 10, 11, and 12. So I get paid $7,500 up front. But because Peter helped me make money, the insurance carrier is going to pay him the 10% difference between me and him. So Peter's also going to get $750. So at this point, you start out and you get one agent part-time to earn $10,000 in a month. You can create a residual, or you can create an override income of $750. 10 agents doing $10,000 a month, $7,500. 100 agents doing $10,000 a month, $75,000 a month. And believe it or not, that type of stuff happens, and it happens quite quickly. I'm not allowed to talk about specific numbers for some of the people at the top. I won't mention any names, but there's a couple of people who just hit some pretty high levels. Not the highest level in the company. Some people who are maybe a level or two above me, who I'm hearing that their deposits were like 150, 160,000 last month in just override income from, they went and sold at a high level, they hit Hall of Fame, they taught people how to do the same thing, and they maybe have 100, 130 agents, and their override income plus Family First Life bonus was like 145 grand last month. So it can happen quite quickly. So I want you guys just to understand that now it's not just what you do, it's also what they do. So let's say Peter tells me about it, and Peter's at a 110, I'm at 100, and I hire somebody in at a 95, okay? And that person at a 95, they go out and they also earn $10,000 in a month. Well, I'm going to earn 5% because they're 5% underneath me. So I'll make 500. Peter will still make the difference in commission level between Peter and I. So Peter will make an additional $7,500 because there's a 10% difference between Peter and I on a $7,500 advance. So this can get pretty cool. When you have 10, 15 people who are also building a team, it can start to get pretty cool pretty quick. And also that's where you get to a level where, Peter plus, 10 agents doing 10,000 a month equals $100,000 in commissions as a team equals you earn your team logo. So that's obviously the goal. And there are some different commission levels, which I'll show you guys here. Okay. So you can come in starting contract 90, where your manager starts you, that's where you're at, and you can build your way up to 145% commission. You can earn your way through the comp structure in two different ways. One, by issue paying personally on your own pen, 5, 10, 15, 20, 30, 40, 50, $60,000, or building a team. You do this 2 months in a row, 20, 25, 75, 100,000, 125, 150, 200, 250. And you can earn a higher comp level, and you can earn your way up to 145% commission. So if I'm at 145% commission and I go sell a $1,000 American Eagle, that commission's pretty nice. That's a $1,450 commission on $1,000 in premium. That's pretty incredible. So there's all kinds of different things. I would encourage you guys to go to fflamerica.com/join if you want to learn a little bit more about this. Rogue IMO videos right there. I send this website to everybody. And that's where I do some prospecting, is I let people read into that. So um, let's talk a little bit about, so you helped 9 people at this point go out there and start writing business. I mean, you've got a lot of people in the pipeline right now, and you probably will be at 15, 20 agents in the next couple of weeks. And obviously that continues to grow. Just what does that conversation look like in general with somebody who comes from the Go High Level campaign? What does that conversation look like? Let's just kind of role play if you were to call one of those agents from the Go High Level campaign, and I'll just kind of make up some backstory for myself. But Jamie from Albany, Oregon, who filled out a lead card. Let's just role play it.
Okay, cool. So I call you, you pick up.
You got to ring the phone though. You know how this works.
Ring, ring.
Hello?
Hey, Jamie?
Yeah, this is Jamie. Who's this?
Hey, Jamie, this is Peter Unger. I'm one of the hiring managers and one of the agency owners here at Family First Life. Got your information sent in, and I just wanted to make sure I could touch base with you real quick, get a couple of your questions answered, and see if this would be a good fit for you. How are you doing?
I'm doing good, man. What's this about again?
This is about that form you sent in for Family First Life. You were asking for more information on the sales programs here. You remember filling that out?
Yeah. No, I remember doing the insurance sales thing.
Yes. Hey, did you watch that 17-minute video? It kind of explains the company A to Z.
I watched like 80% of it, but I was kind of half watching it at parts, but I definitely need to go back and rewatch it. But I think I got the idea.
Okay, gotcha. So at this point, what's kind of your basic understanding of how the company works, or really what this is like?
I understand that we're selling insurance, and I know that I want to make more money, and I'm not super happy with what I'm doing, but I understand that. I understand we're selling insurance, and I think it said something about how we have to buy leads. Okay,
cool. Yeah, so that's a little bit of how this works. You definitely got some of it. So what are you doing for work right now? What's your job?
I am an electrician.
Okay. How long have you been doing that?
7 years.
Okay. And you just mentioned just a moment ago, you don't really enjoy doing that anymore?
No, honestly, it's really hard labor, and I've got a young family, and I'm gone all the time, and it's just way too hard on my body. And if I'm going to be gone all the time, I definitely want to do something that's a little bit more fulfilling. And I'd like to be able to help more people and grow a new skill set. I've never done any sales or anything before.
Okay, so right now, are you looking to supplement your income and do something like this part-time, or in a perfect world, would you want to actually take on something like this full-time eventually and get out of your career field you're in right now?
I mean, in a perfect world, of course, if it worked, I'd like to go full-time, but obviously I still got to pay the bills.
Right. Yeah, that's more important than anything. I'm assuming you probably do everything for your family.
Yeah, my wife stays home.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's really cool. Well, I can tell you that the past 4 months of being here, it's been life-changing for me. It's completely changed my family's circumstances and our situation. And so I think since I am still pretty new here, I'll be able to answer some of your questions. But I did want to ask you a couple of things. Obviously, as an electrician, I'm assuming you probably work pretty hard.
Yeah, no, we work pretty hard. Yeah, pretty much five days a week, sometimes on call on the weekends.
Okay, wow. So have you ever owned a business?
No.
Ever like invested into a business or done anything that was really entrepreneurial or independent?
No, nothing at all.
Okay, cool. Well, I can tell you that's probably one of the most important things to kind of understand about this opportunity. I know you watched the overview video, so you saw a little bit more about how it works, but we are completely independent here. So there is no contract that you sign with the company. And so that means that this is really going to be your own business. And for a lot of people, that's really freeing. And for some people, that's also concerning, because setting your own schedule means that you are free to choose. And sometimes when you're free to choose, you don't always make the right choices. So knowing yourself and your discipline, do you feel like you could create your own schedule and you could work on your own? Or do you think that without the right accountability, that would be hard for you?
I think I would need some accountability. I mean, if I did get started, would I be like working with you, or like would you like pass me off to somebody else? How does that work?
Yeah, so that's actually the reason why I called you tonight, is really just to see if this would be the right fit for you, because we would be working together. So when you get started here, there's a system that you plug into and everything is really outlined for you. But at the same time, we also believe in having personal one-on-one support. And in my first 30 days, that was one of the most essential things for me. The person who showed this to me was there every single time I was in a home sitting with a family. Every single time I had a question, they were there to answer that. So that's exactly the kind of person I would be for you in this.
Oh, okay. Got it.
So you are independent. This is very much an adult business, and no one's going to be calling you at 5 a.m. to see if you're awake and if you're up and you're working. But you have all the support you need. So at whatever speed you want to move, you're going to have the support to help you go that fast.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
How much money do you think I could make if I went full time?
So if you go full time and you run a full time schedule, here's what you can kind of expect. Full time producers here are running about 30 appointments a week. So what that looks like, Jamie, is the company has dial days on Mondays and Thursdays, and these are days where you can get on Zoom online and you can plug in with other top producers and even brand new people who are just learning more about how to dial, how to call all these warm leads that we have, and talk with them and set up an appointment and go over and protect their family. So on Mondays and Thursdays, we dial. And so that means, let's say you were running the same schedule I was running. On Monday, you'd be setting appointments for Tuesday and Wednesday. The goal is to set 15, and I'll tell you why in a second. And then you do the same thing on Thursday for Friday and Saturday. So if you're running 30 appointments a week, in the beginning, what you can expect is you're going to have some people who no-show you and who cancel, just like anything else. So you're probably going to sit with about 20 families. And then out of those 20 families, you're going to be able to protect at least 8 to 10. And so here, on average, we're getting paid $1,000 to $2,000 commission per policy we put in place, per family we protect. So on the low end, you're looking at being able to make $8,000 to $10,000 a week if you were doing that kind of schedule. But that, of course, is just if those numbers ran their course. That's what you could expect here if you were working full time.
That's crazy, man. I've never made 8 to 10 grand in a month.
Yep, I totally get it. A few months ago, I could say that the money I made my first month was money that I hadn't even made in an entire year a few years ago. So it's definitely life changing. It's probably a big leap. So you're talking about doing this potentially full time. What is it that it would take financially to replace your full time income right now? How much money would you need to make in a month?
4,500.
Okay, so that means if you sat down and you protected 5 families, you would be able to realistically make that kind of money here. Last month, I sat down and I protected 38. So you think you could probably sit down with 5 families and help them get coverage if they filled out a form and requested this, and you scheduled an appointment with them and went and sat down with them?
I mean, if someone taught me how, I mean, I don't really know I don't know anything about insurance. So like, how does that work?
Most of the people who approach the company, they've never done anything like this before. A lot of people don't even have sales backgrounds. And so I think one of the reasons why this is simple, even though it's still really hard work, Jamie, is because when you get started here, you plug into a system, and that system doesn't only teach you what to do or how to do it, but it involves warm leads. And so what that means is that every single person who we're reaching out to has sent in a form and requested life insurance. So you said you're in Albany area in Oregon. So in your backyard, you can go into your CRM, which is a website. It's a login you get when you become an agent. And you can click on any state and any county. So you could go to Oregon, you could click on your county, and you could see how many leads were in there today. And every single day, thousands of new leads are being poured into that CRM. So you can click, you can see how many leads are, you can buy those leads, and then you call them and you set up appointments with them. And that's something that we teach you how to do from the start. And so the reason why people are able to come in here and able to do what they can and see such massive success is because you don't need a background in sales and you don't need a background in insurance. Because we're sitting down with people who've already requested life insurance. And so the sales process is minimized here. You'll even see when you get started that in the trainings, there's not a huge emphasis on sales tactics or persuasion or coercion because the process is so simple. We're a lot more like order takers. We're sitting down, and most people we're sitting with, we just need to get an idea of what kind of coverage they're looking for, how much, and what's really going to put their family in a better situation when we leave the home. So all of that will be outlined for you. But no, that's definitely something that's going to be huge here, because most people, when they start something new, they're asking themselves questions like, can I do this? And is it actually going to be worth it for me? And so one of the things I can tell you is if you're hardworking, if you're teachable, if you're willing to learn from someone else, a brand new skill set, There's incredible training here. Everything's free in that regard. Then you can do this.
Yeah, I'm a hard worker, man. I pretty much, I'm teachable. You have to be teachable in order to learn a skilled trade. So I'm definitely, I'm willing to work, and I can't do this for the rest of my life here. So what are the next steps, man? I definitely want to see what this is about.
Perfect. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have one of our admins send over an email to you. It's a getting started email. Super straightforward, Jamie. First thing is you are going to book your exam to get your license. This exam, 50% of people pass it their first try. With our pre-licensing course though, 93% of people pass it their first try when they actually go through the course A to Z. It's the best course out there for pre-licensing. So what that looks like is you'll book your exam. Most people book it 5 to 7 days out. If you need the extra time, you can book it 10 days out. Don't do it any further because that's really the only time we start to see people fail. And we've got a discount code to get you into pre-licensing for free. And that's only good if you book your exam in the next 7 to 10 days, okay? So you're gonna book your exam online. It'll be in the getting started email. Then you're gonna take your exam in the next 7 to 10 days. We give you the pre-licensing course. It's about a $300 course. It's gonna be free for you. We pay for it. That's going to allow you to really prep yourself. It's going to give you everything you need to be ready for the test. You're going to take that exam. It's 150 multiple choice questions. And then as soon as you finish that, you're going to be able to get a copy of your license, and we're going to plug you into contracting. And like I told you earlier, there's no contracts with the company. So contracting is just the term we use to kind of explain the process of getting you to start writing business with all the carriers we work with, because we work with about 20 different insurance companies. So we're going to send out a mass application online with all of your information with your license number. And in the next 7 to 10 days, they're going to start getting back to us and giving you writing numbers, which means you're approved to do business and you can go and you can actually help families get coverage. So that's step 2 is contracting. Step 3 is going to be the training portion of things. While you're waiting for those writing numbers to come back for you, you're going to go through FFL America's Bootcamp online. It's about 20 hours worth of videos and trainings. It teaches you the ins and the outs of everything that we do here. And it's the same training that's carrying me through 4 months later. So I think it's the best training in the entire company. It's free. Again, it's going to teach you everything you need to know about buying leads, calling people on the phone, and going and sitting with those families and helping them get protected. So those are the next steps. I'm just going to have you send me a couple things. I'll text you right now a list. It's your name, your email. And then if you could just send me a screenshot of your Facebook profile, I'm going to look you up on Facebook. I'll friend you. I'll add you into the FFL Facebook group so you start to get connected to the community and really see how big this is. And then you can go ahead and book your exam tonight. Now, in Oregon, the exam usually runs, it's about $75 to $100 depending on your state. That's something that you are going to have to pay for. So are you able to book your exam tonight after you and me get off the phone?
Yeah, I could probably book the exam. You said that someone's going to send me an email with how to do that?
Yeah, we're going to send the email over to you.
Okay. Yeah, no, I could probably book it today.
Okay, cool. I'm going to send that information over to you. And then if you have any questions, just text me tonight and we'll get that thing booked for you. And then just make sure you send over a screenshot of that back in the email. The instructions are in there, but also let me know what day and time it's set for so that I can add it to my calendar. And we'll be in touch up to your test date. But I do want to make sure that you get everything booked so that you get that discount code to get into class for free and everything. Okay.
Yeah, that sounds good, man.
Okay. Hey, we're going to get the chance to talk more and get to know each other better, but thank you for just taking like 5-10 minutes just to talk real quick. I have a better idea of who you are. And I really am excited for you, Jamie. If you are willing to work hard over here, like it seems you are, this is going to be a great fit. And I'm really excited for what we're going to be able to do together.
Awesome, man. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
All right. Appreciate your time. We'll talk to you later.
All right. Thanks, man. Okay, cool, man. That's awesome. So I'm looking for something right now. Okay, here it is. So anybody who wants to do what Peter said at the end of that call, I prefer you guys write down this email here at the bottom for Remy. So Remy is our administrative assistant, as well as Sam, who's our director of operations. Write down her email for anybody you guys want to send into class, and she'll send an email on your behalf. So Peter now has his own admin that does this, but for those of you guys who don't have it, write down remyfarouk.ffl@gmail.com, and all you have to do is just send their first name, their last name, their phone number, their email, and their city and state over to Remy. And then at that point, she will go ahead and Let me see if I can find a bigger version of this. Here we go. So yeah, you'll just go ahead and send that over to them. And at that point, they will send an email where they will reach out on your behalf to them to get them plugged in to the system. And it'll say something along the lines of, hey, Peter, this is Remy from, Jamie Chirio's office reaching out on behalf of Mike Curry. Here's the next step, step 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, get into the Facebook group, et cetera, et cetera. So, highly recommend you guys use that, take advantage of that for anybody that you want to get into class. And just know, for anybody here who is a little bit hesitant to share the FFL opportunity with somebody, then just know that it's not your job to teach everybody everything they need to know to get started in this business. You see a good opportunity with Family First Life, you can share this opportunity. You can lean on the system. You can plug them into our staff. Our staff will support them to help them get through class. And then at that point, they plug into the training. And then myself, Peter, Mike, Zach, Josh, Alan, Gabe, all the top leaders here, they're going to help them get started. They're going to help them in the home. And just understand this process is like a 6 to 8 week process to get licensed and contracted. So by the time that your new recruit has gone through licensing and got their first contract, you now have 6 to 8 weeks of experience under your belt, and you're much more equipped to help them than you might feel right now as a brand new agent. So just know that a lot can happen in 6 to 8 weeks. Peter wasn't feeling super confident to recruit in his first 30 days, but best believe after his first 30 days and, submitting 53 grand in business, he was super confident to recruit moving forward. So let's just end with any advice that you have, Peter, for anybody who is wanting to sell at a high level and build a team. What advice do you have for them?
Results will turn you into a natural recruiter. If you create a story worth telling here, people will naturally want to follow you because people follow people who know where they're going and the ones who can help them move from where they're at to where they want to be. And it's impossible to have the conviction and the confidence that you can do that if you're barely getting by here. So the first thing is go out and actually prove it to yourself that you can do this, that you can submit $5,000 to $10,000 of business in a week, and you can consistently do that the whole month, that you can issue pay anywhere from $20,000 to $40,000. It's something that anyone on here can do, but the biggest factor of that is consistency. It's running the right amount of appointments. It's running them consistently. And then the second thing is just taking on like a different approach to recruiting. It's not about what you can do or just what you can create. It's about realizing that if your life is only as big as, if your goals take you to accomplish them and that's it, then those are some really, really small goals. Realistically, anything in life that is going to be truly significant in the long run and just past the next 5, 10, 15 years of your life, any dream, any goal you have, it's going to involve other people. It's not going to be possible to accomplish on your own. And you can write a lot of business here in a month, but you cannot write enough business to get yourself to $1 million a month. You cannot build a huge agency alone. You can't do anything really worthwhile in life alone. I really do believe that. And so just know that if the goals that you have right now in your life, they just involve you and it only requires you to make them happen, that's a really, really small life. And the life that you were designed for is one that involves goals that are so big that they can't happen unless you pull other people into that dream. And legacy, true legacy is living a life that's so vast that you actually need people, that it's so important that it goes beyond just your lifetime. If you want to create something that'll last here, don't get on a bigger hamster wheel than what corporate America or any other job would be that life insurance can become, because it can be a bigger hamster wheel. You have to continually produce, you have to continually go and sell, you have to continually go and meet with families, and it's going to be the same thing week in and week out. And what we do is hard work and it's tiring. And so if you want this to turn into long-term or stable residual income, then you need to build a team. If you don't want to do this for the rest of your life, you need to build a team. And if you want to create something that's really meaningful and significant, then you're going to want to build a team. And it's not for your own gain or just your own results or just the fact that you can create an agency that has your name on it or whatever you choose to do. It's so that you can do something that's just bigger than you. And truly, it gets to a point very quickly in this business. It could be a few weeks into some of our journey here that you've made more money than you've made in a month. And at that point, you have a lot of people in your life that could do the exact same thing if you would just share this with them. I do wish in so many ways and it would change who I am today. But I do wish that I found this 3-4 years ago. I do wish that I knew someone that told me about it. Maybe I did. And maybe they just counted me out or didn't consider me or whatnot. But it's selfish not to share this. I do believe that. And if you think about what this has done for your life, if this has changed you, other people deserve to have their lives changed in that way. And if you're thinking right now, you've been here for, 7, 14, 30 days, 6 months, a year, and you're like, my life really hasn't been changed here. Then you need to that's the first step. You need to actually have your life be changed here. And that's completely up to you. And it's going to start with you buying leads and calling them and setting up enough appointments to actually help enough families to where your financial situation is turned over upside down. And that's when life change can start here. And then from there, you can go to help other people change their lives.
I love it, bro. There's two things I just want to touch on. So you said results will turn you into a natural recruiter. I've never heard that. That's really, really good, man. Results will turn you into a natural recruiter. That's so true. I honestly hated recruiting before Family First Life, but like when you have good results to back up, you're no longer saying, hey, come check out this incredible product, this potion and lotion and, shake or energy drink, whatever it was. And not to go too hard on those type of people, because I was that person. You're not having to leverage anything else other than results, and results are easy to recruit with. So results turn you into a natural recruiter. And then you mentioned just the next logical step. There's a lot that we talked about in this call. We talked big picture. We wanted to expand your mind, because the mind once expanded cannot go back. Once you see that image where it says, if I help one agent earn 10,000, I make 750. If I help 10 people earn 10,000, I make 7,500. If I help 100 people earn 10,000, I make 75,000. Your mind can't go back. So that's kind of the purpose of this call. But the next logical step, if you're here and you haven't bought leads yet, or you haven't bought leads consistently, you haven't dialed the phone consistently, set your first 100 appointments. That's the next logical step. Get to 100 appointments as quickly as possible. Like Peter did, results will make you a natural recruiter. That's fire. If you guys take anything away from this call, that'll be it. So last thing, we'll have everybody off of here. Peter, what are your goals? So you've been able to pretty consistently be a 30 to 40K a month producer. Is Hall of Fame on your mind? What do you want to do as an agency here by the end of the year? Knowing that let's talk personal issue paid numbers, number of agents in your agency by the end of the year, and your monthly volume as an agency by the end of the year.
Hall of Fame by the end of the year. That's something that I'm working on. Even though I came in April, I believe it's possible, and I'm not quite on track, but I'm almost there. I just need to get my issue paid numbers up just a little bit more each month, and I'll be on track for that. Team, $1 million a month by the end of the year. In 4 months, went to 100,000 with 9 people. Have like another 15, 20 people right now in contracting who are about to be active. So we're going to triple in size. It's just a game of multiplication here. So if it takes 10 agents, then it would probably take 100 for $1 million, but more realistically, probably more. So 200 agents by the end of the year, $1 million a month at that point. And Jamie's laughing because when I started, I told him I wanted to submit 50,000 my first month. And then you just I've known him long enough to know when he wants to believe the best for you, but he's like, okay. And he's like, all right, dude. And so I submitted, it was actually 58, Jamie, not 53. You're trying to bring me down, but I submitted 58 just for Jamie. So I know you're laughing, Jamie, but that's okay. Because first they laugh at you, dude.
Yeah, first they laugh at you. So Peter sets large goals, and he sets large goals because he understands that if that's his target, then wherever he lands, if he doesn't hit it, is still going to be massive. So that's an incredible target. I've got a target of 2.5 million by the end of the year. And a lot of people told me that was too big of a target as well. And a lot of people laughed when I set that goal in front of 5,000 people. So I love your goal. That's incredible. So Hall of Fame, absolutely on the horizon. 200 agents, it's possible. All that takes is consistent conversation, investing into go high level, continuously getting results so that more warm market people reach out to you, and duplication. So agents on your team starting to recruit as well. And when that starts to happen, things can go, quite quickly. So thank you so much, Peter, for jumping on here. We are going to skip the Q&A tonight, just it's a little bit later, but I appreciate you all. If anybody got value from Peter, drop a 1 in the comments, and I'm just so thankful to have you on the team, man. Anybody reach out if you have any questions. We are very grateful that all of you guys were able to join. I will be available throughout the days. Text me and I'll find time to connect with anybody that I can. I'll be back in the field here in the next couple of weeks. And otherwise, you've got amazing leaders like Peter and Mike and Josh and Zach and so many other people, Alan and Gabe, that I could name that you guys can lean on. So thank you guys so much. Peter, thanks again. And everybody have an absolutely amazing night. Talk soon, guys.